Yeah. It's the mafia. Yeah.
He's a monkey with cymbals in his hands instead of just catching the
and
doing this.
They're giving us like a 24-hour go feed. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a Bill City. Yeah, a Buffalo Bill City. Yeah. We got Josh Allen, got Steph.
I know they mentioned something about an ultrasound to check the nerve endings and everything.
Hopefully
else
he's
like
not pregnant. That would
Hopefully
be,
not
a disaster. I hear that's a 9-month timeline to recover from at the minimum, is what I've heard.
Yeah, Ike McKenzie on a jet sweep. Maybe it's a fake. Honestly, it's a TD either way when you got Josh Allen making plays. Win a ball before we get a new stadium.
Someone's making a new Twitter at some point. Maybe we should do that.
Honestly, I'll just start a shared Google Doc, and that'll be our new Twitter. That'll be our new Twitter.
Just people just adding shit in.
Anonymous Hedgehog is saying "fuck your mom." Like.
This is our team forever. It is forever. We got Josh Allen, got Steph Diggs, Russo, Deion Dawkins, cause you know it's about to snow. It is Mafia, you know we on a roll. No competition and it's not even close.
Folks, welcome into a brand new episode of the Crowd Assist podcast presented by Trainwreck Sports. Wake here with Jake Micah. Got a fantastic show for you today, talking about, of course, the game that is no longer going to be in Buffalo. Rumor has it, someone in this very room that is not me, let's narrow it down a little bit, will be in attendance. Jake Micah, how excited are you to be there in Detroit? Feels like it might be a home game.
I answered a Brother Bill tweet yesterday and said this is Midwestern Bills fans literally being called into active duty. That is how I viewed it. Knowing that it was going to be tough. Shout out. Hope everybody is safe back home. Obviously, I know you right there are very probably under snow. I'm assuming where you live.
Yeah, I almost did the show outside. Actually, I really did think about it.
I would. This is great. This is great content right here.
Yeah, no, I almost did it.
Let's mark this down for the show. Wake goes to find the snow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I built up a little wall. That was going to be my backdrop. But
wow.
I elected to not do it. You know, I decided to use
you would have been cold.
Common sense. Yes, I was going to go. If I did it, I would have been shirtless, or not shirtless, just in this. I was not going to prepare for it whatsoever. And I am already thanking
what a
myself
visual that would have been.
Doing that.
Our guys
feeling the heat right now I'm thanking this. What about our guy Sal?
Our guy Sal Capaccio did his Pat McAfee hit today out in the snow. It was great.
God damn it! I didn't even see that.
He did.
Wow.
So I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you didn't do it because then people would have just been like, "Oh, he's ripping off Sal."
And it would have been completely unintentional. No,
exactly.
I do not want to rip off Sal. And speaking of not ripping people off, shout out Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. I know everybody's snowed in right now, but Outlet Liquor was open today anyways. You know, the North Towns isn't getting hit as badly as everywhere else. So if you didn't stock up, you still got time. Of course, we have 2 days. The weather hopefully will ease up by Sunday, so you'll be able to make it to the place to buy a case. Get your tequila, get your Loganberry seltzers, get whatever the hell you want from Outlet Liquor. What's your outlet? My outlet is beating the shit out of Jake Micah with Fact or Fiction. So we're going to start out this again.
Like, what is happening?
No, I am 150 pounds.
People just breaking my door. I thought you had like some henchmen coming for me or something. That would have been crazy.
That would have been something else. But I'm sorry to disappoint you. But we do have some Fact or Fiction here. 3 real statistics relating to the Browns and Bills, and 1 fake one. It is Jake's job and everybody watching along to figure out what the fake statistic is. So, stat number 1. The Buffalo Bills have missed more tackles this year than the Cleveland Browns.
I feel like the Bills number is higher than you thought, and that's probably why you did this one. But I know for a fact that the Browns defense has been absolutely atrocious all year long. So this one I don't know about to start off, but we'll see. We'll see. It depends what the others are too, because I could see it. This Bills defense missed, 81-yard touchdown run last week. Probably missed a couple there.
So number 2, Nick Chubb has more rushing touchdowns than the Buffalo Bills.
Damn it. I wish I knew how many touchdowns Nick Chubb had right off the top of my head, but that's very possible. That's very possible. Nick Chubb's having a great year. Wow. That would be sad if that one's true.
Sorry. I'm eating a stale
It looks good.
pretzel. It's not awful. I realized that, I've been coming hot with the food analogies this season, and the Cleveland Browns are basically a stale soft pretzel because what was once a respected, nice little appetizer, due to some neglect and some poor decisions like leaving it in the fridge for 3 days or signing in, a rapist to be your quarterback, it's just not what it used to be, and you can never get it back. So, stat
to be
number
fair,
3.
did the Browns ever have it? Top 10 scoring offense. I think the Browns are a top 10 scoring offense. So I'm gonna say that's true.
Mm-hmm. All right. And the last one. The Cleveland Browns have a higher strength of victory than the Tennessee Titans.
Wow. These are tough. This is the toughest one.
See, I thought that it was really hard for me to do this. It was really hard for me to do this today and put together the one that was the lie.
All right, give me the full list. I need to see.
Yeah,
them
so
all.
we'll put the board up here. Yep, nope. So fact or fiction, 3 real stats, 1 fake one. Buffalo Bills.
I can't believe 3 of these. I can't believe 3 of these things are real. To be honest, that's correct. That's the crazy.
That makes me feel great, honestly. Okay, let's start out. Eliminate one that that you feel in your heart is a real thing.
Is true. The higher strength of victory, I feel like, is.
Yes, that is very true. The Browns' strength of victory is, I think, around a 0.36, somewhere in there. The Titans is around a 0.33. So
I only knew the Titans wasn't good. That's the only thing. I didn't know what the Browns really was. Who did the Browns beat even in their 3 games?
The Bengals.
I know that for sure. Who are probably holding that thing up right now, to be honest.
Yeah. Who did the Browns beat? The Browns
Texans?
beat.
Or no, they don't play. They play the Texans later. Don't mind.
They beat the Panthers. They beat the Steelers. And they beat the Bengals.
Okay.
And their strength of victory is still better than the Titans.
That's pretty gross.
Okay. That was my favorite one.
I think maybe the Browns. I'm going with the Browns are not a top 10 scoring offense.
You think that that one is
fiction.
The lie?
That's the fiction, yeah.
You should have trusted your gut when you said that they are a top 10 scoring offense because they are. They are number 10. They are literally number 10 on the list. Chubb does have more rushing touchdowns than the Buffalo Bills. He has 11 on his own, and the Bills have 8 this year. So the Bills have not missed more tackles than the Cleveland Browns.
I should have given more credit to the defense. Is it close though?
It's close. It's like they're both in like the mid 40s. So both are very poor.
That's not good. That's not a good territory you want to be in.
That's That's why I had that be the fiction, because I was sitting there staring at those, and then also the one fact that I came away with that was really fun while I was doing the research for this was that Jacoby Brissett has just as many turnovers as he does passing touchdowns this year, which is really, really great because we're going into this game, and I feel mostly really good about it because it is probably the biggest gap in quarterback talent that we will see between Josh Allen and whoever we play for the rest of the season. Hands down.
Jacoby Brissett, doesn't he have like 8 total points in starts against the Bills so far as well, or something like that, or 7 total points, I think, in 2 starts he has. He also started against the Bills, obviously. I'm pretty sure it was something like that where he has 8 or 9 points total in 3 starts or 2 starts against the Bills. He started with the Patriots, obviously. They shut them out at Foxborough. And then he played in the snow game, which everybody thought it was going to be another snow game.
Oh, obviously, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's not going to be. They're going to be in Detroit, which that's an aspect of this that I think is going to be one of the most interesting things about this game. Oh, wow.
Sorry, keep going. I have his averages in his 4 games against the Bills.
Let me see. No, give me that.
He averages out being 13 of 22 with 111 yards, 0.3 touchdowns, and 0.3 interceptions.
So that's all you really need to hear about Jacoby Brissett. No one's worried about Jacoby Brissett in this game, though, defensively for the Bills. It is Nick Chubb that is going to present all the issues, as you had the true fact of him having more rushing touchdowns by himself than the Buffalo Bills' entire offense, which is not a good stat to have. And we know that that's just a part of this offense anyways, that Josh Allen has all the touchdowns. He is 23 of now. Well, what is it now? 23 of 27 or 24 of 27, something like that. He is for touchdowns on the season responsible for. So it's crazy. It's a huge gap in quarterback play, but where that gap in quarterback play is, I feel like it's close to the same gap in running back play. And that's no slight to Motor or any of the other Bills running backs. That's just how highly I think of Nick Chubb. I mean, Nick Chubb is one of the most underrated, underappreciated superstars in the NFL. Dude is been a machine. Why is he not talked about with Henry more often? Like,
he should be. Any running back who makes the position look fun is like already like it is so hard to reinvent the running back position, and I'm not saying he's revolutionizing it in any way, but no, there are very few people in the NFL that can carry a pile of 6 people on his back consistently. Like Motor has those times when he does it, and credit to him because he's a pretty small dude. It's damn impressive. But with Nick Chubb, like he will turn a run that looks like it should be a 3-yard loss into a 25-yard gain on the regular. I mean, he fumbled last week, which is extremely uncharacteristic of him. But he still had like 60 yards and a touchdown, and he's been getting more involved in the passing game. Kareem Hunt's almost phased out of that offense, which is super bizarre because like what another factor.
You want to? Here's my conspiracy theory, because I was thinking about that earlier today. What if they are phasing Kareem Hunt out of the offense this year because he's on a contract year, and they're just destroying his value, so he'll re-sign because they know he wants to stay there anyways because it's home. He wanted to go back there. He's from Cleveland area, everything, and they're going to sign him to a cheap contract because he didn't produce this year.
If that is what they're doing, I totally don't respect it whatsoever.
No, me neither. It's fucked up.
For more reason, for one, the moral reason, but also if you just look all the running backs that are going to be available. I talk with food in my mouth on this program so goddamn much. If you look at all the running backs that are going to be available next offseason, it's the one season where you really can probably bank on getting someone back on a discount.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. One of the factor fiction stats I didn't do was that Devin Singletary has more receiving yards than Kareem Hunt this year, which he does.
Yeah. That's not surprising. That's not surprising. I know that Hunt hasn't done anything this year. I mean, Hunt has not been a factor and hasn't been a focus on their offense. And I also wonder how much of that is with Brissett, like his comfortability using those types of backs and such, because Brissett really targets. This has been a breakout David Njoku year, who should be playing on Sunday.
Love David Njoku. Absolutely love him.
And I've loved him, and he's been disappointing in fantasy for the years past. And I feel like it's not been his fault. We know what Baker Mayfield has turned out to be. It's not Njoku's. I don't think it's an indictment on the player for him. It's been the situation. He's starting to produce. But Amari Cooper has been awesome. He's been the number one receiver. He's looked great. This offense, like we said earlier, number 10 scoring offense. They can put up points. They can score points. They've been in shootouts this year. That with the Chargers, they were in a shootout, crazy game early in the year. Also, the only other team in the league who might have a claim to a worse loss or as bad of a loss as we just had last week against the Vikings is the Cleveland Browns, who lost to the New York Jets after being up 24-10, or was it 24-17?
It was 24-10.
24-10, right? Yes, being up 24-10.
I have Pro Football Reference right here.
Getting a late touchdown by Joe Flacco, onside kick, recovering the onside kick, scoring another touchdown, and then going for 2 to win.
Yep. 30-17, actually.
30-17. Okay.
That doesn't make it any better. It does not.
So they didn't even have to go for 2. They kicked the extra point and win. So that is, I'd take Sunday's loss over that any day of the week, to be honest. So this is a team that is not prone to collapses.
Yeah, and you mentioned and you mentioned all those guys without even saying Donovan Peoples-Jones, who is literally like DPJ is only like 20 yards behind Amari Cooper right now in the season. He's like very, very, very underrated. I mean, I loved him coming out of college that was like 2 years ago now, I think. Yeah, no, he's
a
those
freak
are
athlete,
guys,
a freak athlete.
and him against Kyer Elam or Christian Benford or any of the freak athletes we have back there in the secondary. That's going to
That'd
be
be
a matchup to watch for sure, especially since we know that Trey White is going to be out again. We also
Yes.
already know that Tremaine Edmonds, Greg Rousseau will not play, and that
Yes.
just kind of adds to this
The
little
run game.
Yeah, this little thing I have on the screen right now that says Nick Chubb has 11 rushing touchdowns.
Definitely.
Yeah, him to score a rushing touchdown or him to hit whatever his over is for rushing yards this weekend, probably a lock.
Yeah.
But I mean, people have been kind of talking about whether or not the shift in venue benefits the Bills or benefits the Browns. Vegas thinks that it benefits the Browns because you can just look by the lines. I think that it's gone down by 2 points or so since the change of venue, which makes sense going from just home to neutral field. So I'm not sure they're really accounting for it to, change exactly how much these teams play. The look of the weather for Sunday is that it would be a little windy. The snow would mostly be over. The field would be a little tough, but it would just be coldish, not super cold. I don't think the weather would have impacted the game here in Buffalo as much as people thought it would. Of course, we know it was just a matter of getting the NFL crews, getting everybody from Cleveland here. It makes sense.
It's an optics thing as much as anything, like shipping in all these people into this storm that is literally historic. We saw videos of people, trying to drive on the 90 right in Hamburg and south right around where the stadium is, just being stuck.
Why would you
stuck?
Travel ban means nothing. Travel ban means nothing. Like
when you see that amount of snow on the ground, what makes you think that your sedan is going to make it on the highway? Like
your Ford Fusion will not make it to West America.
It's not going to work. So it's just a safety thing, and maybe it's clear and it looks beautiful all day Sunday, and everybody is very upset that they moved the game, and that's understandable. And I understand the safety side of it and everything, and I also understand why all the folks back home are really upset that they're not going to get this crazy snow tailgate. As not even as much as the game. Who cares if it snows during the game? That much snow during the tailgate would be so much fun for everybody there. So completely understand that. But let's talk a little bit about what the atmosphere might be like in Ford Field, because I really think this is legit, like potential for one of the most unique atmospheres we've ever seen inside in an NFL game. The way that this is going to be set, first of all, I don't know how many tickets they sold today. We'll see how much I'm interested to see what the general on sale looks like what's available and what's left. I got in right away. Shout out to my friend Dylan, who gave me his season ticket links and got me to get in there. I got in right away. There was like 500 people in line right away. So I was like, okay, that's not too much, like whatever. And I'm sure you've done Ticketmaster, waiting in queues, all that stuff with pre-sales, with concerts. So I've done it with wrestling shows. So I knew how the whole deal worked and everything. By the time we went back and looked, like maybe 50 minutes later, 2,000 people plus in the queue, and you were not moving. And so we know that the codes got out on Twitter to all the Bills fans. So it was just everybody. It was a free for all at that point. But
we also know that Browns fans were using those same codes.
My exact point. And so it's an easier way for Browns fans to get there than Bills fans. I really think, and that's why it sucks that this is a home game, but it's still going to be cool if that place is 80% full with people that were just like, fuck it, we're still going to this game. It might be like a college football rivalry.
I was just
game
gonna
atmosphere.
say, like a college football playoff game.
Like OU, like yes, a playoff game or a bowl game, or like I said to my friend earlier, like Oklahoma, Texas, when they meet in Dallas, because it's two teams,
and you'll see the maroon on one side and it bleed into the orange behind the end
and
zone.
I'm sure that people did exactly what I did and all the Bills fans bought tickets behind the Bill. It was $30 for sideline tickets for this game, so it's literally people probably bringing their kids that will never go to games anyways, because like we don't want to pay $200 to not be able to see the field. Like this is going to be a great experience for I think it's going to be a fun crowd, because I think that last time I went to a Browns Bills tailgate, I got barked at. Still might get barked at on Sunday, but I feel like it's going to be more of just like two fan bases being just like, fuck it, let's just enjoy this while we can. And for it to be in a middle spot, like just it's how weird that the Bills are well, first of the Bills are playing back-to-back games in Detroit now is weird.
Yeah, right.
But how weird that this storm happened against the Browns, where these two fan bases could like coalesce so easily onto a stadium, which would have most probably, if it was only Bills fans, I mean, even if it's a good amount, maybe 30, 20,000 tops, and it would look kind of weird and empty. I feel like this place is going to, at least the lower bowl is going to be full, and that's going to be a great atmosphere for a game. And the players are going to appreciate it too. Like all these players are going to we're going to hear it from both teams. Like, I can't believe our fans came to a city that isn't our city and just packed this place out on 2 days notice. And that's what I think is going to happen. So I really think it's like, it sucks for everybody back home missing the game, but for someone like me who doesn't live at home and now has an opportunity to go to a game, it's obviously great. I'm sure there's going to be more people coming from Chicago and stuff like such an easy Browns and Bills fans. I was advocating little bit on Twitter. I was like, just move it to Chicago. The transplants would literally fill Soldier Field with the amount of people from Ohio and New York that live here. Oh yeah, all the time. I went to go get wings last night, and so I just try all these wing places because you got to find what works, right? When you're not out of town. You know this living.
Never did.
It's a hard try. But so this place was called Bada Bing Wings. It was like all mobster themed. It was really dope, actually.
Okay.
And I got some wings, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'm from Buffalo, so I've just been trying all these wing places. He's like, people from Buffalo, they're here all the time, and they say they love the buffalo wing sauce there. I didn't try the buffalo sauce. Going to go back there next time. But that just shows you the Chicago transplants that literally have the same mind as me. They're like, we just need to try all the wing places.
Oh my God.
But so I really just think it's going to be, the main point is I think it's going to be a really cool atmosphere at Ford Field. Yeah. And just with those two fan bases being able to so easily, or maybe not easily for some people, but pretty easily make this shift and make a weekend out of it. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's more than just like, the Bills fans or the Browns fans. Like, you could see people from like, Indiana, people in Detroit, just like going up there being like, we won't have the option. Maybe even like Packers fans going over there somehow to like see Josh Allen maybe lose for a change.
Yeah.
Like people in Detroit, like how often are they going to be able to watch the Bills? Actually, I was going to say watch Josh Allen in person, but twice in 1 week. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so maybe they'll go for an appetizer for the Thanksgiving game. I think that it's an interesting game for sure, just from that perspective. Like, it will genuinely be. At first, I was thinking, like, Bills Mafia travels. It could just be, a 60-40 split. But, like, it will be a genuine neutral field. It'll have, like, a London game atmosphere almost. Yeah. But with almost,
I'm
like, dedicated
so intrigued. I'm so intrigued to walk into the stadium and just see, like, how the fans are dispersed and how it fills in. Because it's just going to, like, think of the fan bases you're putting in there, too. Like, these are two of the rowdiest fan bases. Yeah. And if you're having the people that are willing to go out of their way to get to this city, like, it's gonna be crazy in there. I don't know if the Ford Field knows what they're getting into.
For the circus.
The poor circus. They're bringing a real circus in with Bills and Browns fans. That's what's gonna happen. I guarantee you,
Allen's better than an elephant unicycling across a tightrope. Way
Meyer, all our Michigan fans out there, all the Meyers are going to be sold out of tables within like a 10-mile radius, and they're not going to have any reason. They're not going to know why. Those poor grocery store people are going to be like, "What is going on? Like, why do people
keep asking for Labatt?" Well, actually, Detroit could probably have Labatt.
Detroit might have Labatt, but
if they're one of the few cities that might, yeah.
I've got a liquor store literally around the corner from my apartment that has Labatt here in Chicago, and I am bringing it with me because I'm not taking any chances. Gotta make sure.
Think.
Yeah.
No, love the way you think there. Oh, man. So it's no secret that obviously, back to the game, that's, the fan perspective of it's going to be is fantastic and super intriguing. But, I think that, like, one, the Bills coming off a loss is a scary, scary, scary thing for any team they're playing. It's even scarier for a team that forces turnovers at one of the lowest clips in the NFL, like
and missing Browns. Their best cornerback or best cornerback this week.
Yep. Greg Newsome got into some collision, and Kevin Stefanski said that he won't reveal who it was with out of respect for that player or something like that, which doesn't
sounds a little
it sounds like like that's a little like that guy might be hurt too, but they just don't want anybody to know. Like that's a weird way to say it. Like he could have just said the other guy's fine. And then even if they asked it, they were like, it doesn't matter. He's fine. Like it's the less you say, the better in a situation like that.
Definitely.
But, this defense is full of not nobodies, but people who by far and large have just kind of underperformed this year. Like Grant Delpit is a name that I'll never forget for some reason. Like that's a name of a football name that I'm always going to know, but never for a good reason, not for a bad reason. He's just a guy though. I mean, they have Myles Garrett who has 7.5 sacks. Jadeveon Clowney doesn't look very good at all. So like the entire Bills offensive game plan rests on Dion Dawkins blocking Myles Garrett. And is that a stretch? Like, I think that's literally where this game will be. If it's lost by the Bills, that's where it will be lost, is that singular one-on-one matchup.
That was a major point in Joe Buscalia's All-22 review this week on The Athletic, was how much pressure Josh Allen was under last week, that Neil Hunter and company there had him in hell, basically. Zadarius Smith, obviously, there too. He was under pressure a lot and being forced just in subtle ways to make decisions quicker than he wanted to, and it sped up his clock a little bit later in the game. Myles Garrett's going to do the same damn thing, man. That guy has been on a tear this year. He is just on a tear every year. He is a generational talent at the position. Crazy little thing, Von Miller said that Myles Garrett owns the jersey from the game that he broke the Broncos sack record. Insane. But they are both Texas A&M guys. But I think that means both of them are going to be motivated to kind of show out against each other and probably get a nice little jersey swap for the Detroit Bills Browns game. But
yeah. And we say that Josh has been running for his life, but I'm looking at Pro Football Reference right now, #stats, and he's been pressured 14.2% of dropbacks. First time he's been under 20 in his career.
That's crazy.
It feels like it's just been like kind of like the run game, same thing. Just two things that have been progressively getting worse as the season's gone on, but not like it's been a consistent issue, right? Like it's the guard play, and it's Dion not totally playing up to his contract a little bit. Like, it's not like the unit as a whole is bad.
They've ran into some just monster defensive lines the last couple stretches of games too. The Jets D line is no joke. The Vikings D line, as we just talked about, no joke at all. They've been playing some tough. I mean, even the defense of the Packers is still a pretty solid unit there. Probably the only unit getting them by at this point through the season, if they're even getting by. But yeah, they've had a crazy. They're 6th in strength of schedule so far this season. They've had a tough go of it, and it doesn't look to be getting any easier coming up. Really, I mean, this is the opportunity in this game, regardless of Myles Garrett. The rest of that defense, if they can contain him and get everything away from him, there's opportunities for a lot of points in this game and get it and kind of a get right game for the offense, because it's been a get right game for every offense in the league so far this year. And really, as much as people it's not the biggest deal in the world. The Bills any football team can play in any weather conditions, and that should not be a thing. But it really is having clear conditions. We know what Josh Allen, he likes to play in domes. He said this before himself. And to have this,
he's a California kid playing in Buffalo. Like, that's not the best combination.
No, and I doubt any quarterback really wants to be in wind, in wet weather when the ball is always wet and it's just different grips and everything. It's setting up for them to have a get right game with the opponent and what teams have been able to do against them, and just the conditions being perfect to get him in rhythm with the other receivers. We are only down to 4 receivers this week. Nyheim Hines is a necessity at receiver this week.
Yeah, no, that's a little bizarre. 7 linebackers and 4 receivers. I mean, like that basically says like we know we can get it done on offense with the guys we got.
Or we know Odell is signing on Monday or something like that.
That too. I mean, the
because why else have they not signed anybody yet? Like if it's not Odell, they gotta get some wide receiver in here.
He's literally on my fantasy bench right now because I anticipate plugging him in on Thanksgiving. I'm not even lying to you.
It would not surprise me at all if he decided Thanksgiving was going to be his debut. Even if he didn't dress, even if this scenario, just to have him on the sideline, be like hyping him up for Thanksgiving Day.
Just seeing him in a Bills like tracksuit on the sideline would be all that I would need. all that I would need.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's gonna be something else. That's gonna be something else. But this Cleveland Browns defense, we had, and one of the factor fictions was about did I have the rushing defense on there? No. One of the other ones I was gonna do was that, you know, they both of them are pretty bad rushing defenses, but the Bills are still by and large a better rushing defensive unit. The Browns are low key, with being fully respectable, straight trash to put it lightly. And this is just going to be another Devin Singletary game, because I think that they need, like, if we're talking Josh Allen's turnovers, it's like he's under the impression that he always has to do everything himself. And he's kind of recognized in, you know, the pressers and everything, like, you know, I don't have to do it. I have to trust the people that I'm playing with. Blah,
it was
blah,
really interesting hearing him say the one part about that to what you were just saying. The other day, he said something about, like, I'm just so used to this in my, like, football life that it's always going to be in me. And I feel like we've said that so many times. Like, it's like habits are hard to change, especially when you've been doing them for as long as he was playing the quarterback position. Like, he has retrained. Everybody's got to remember he retrained himself how to be a quarterback, basically. So those wild horse antics are still, they are the core of what he actually is. This is not the pure Josh Allen. The pure Josh Allen would just be throwing cross-body 50-yard bombs every other play. He'd just be
every single
time.
Play. Yeah,
Josh Allen and Madden playing as Josh Allen must be insane.
Oh my God, I've been playing Madden 22 just because, like, I hate myself, and man, that game is terrible. That was a terrible football game. But I think this is exactly the kind of game that Josh Allen needs to get into that mindset that he doesn't have to do everything the entire time, because this is a game where we should be able to rely on James Cook, Devin Singletary,
definitely,
and they can get us down the field in chunks and not have to rely on, you know, a second and 10, second and 12 conversion, or just to get us close to the sticks. I think that, like, going into having games against two really, really, really bad defenses before we get into the stretch where it gets really tough again is so key, because Josh just needs the confidence in the people around him. Not that he doesn't have it, but it's different to you know, say, like, I think these guys can perform, but then also being like, all right, I'm going to go let you perform and not try to do it all himself. Like, if I was out there, like, everybody wants to be the star. Everybody wants to have the game on their shoulders. He just has every play on his shoulders is kind of the issue. And it's nothing new to talk about. That's been the story of this offense for 3 years now.
And what is it? I think this is another Sal Capaccio tweet the other day. Sean McDermott in his career, weeks 9 and 10, 3 and 7.
Yeah.
Weeks, the rest of the weeks, 52 and 28. I mean, it might just be something about this like the middle of the season where these McDermott teams, maybe it's him too, like, just something lets off the gas, or maybe it's when it's defensively. I think it lines up with finding holes in the defense as well. And then they adjust and they turn it on. And that's where I feel like that's attached to the quarterback too, because he's been obviously the biggest McDermott disciple of everybody. Like, you can hear it in his voice and everything else since he's started.
For sure.
So I feel like there's something to that, where it's just that they've done this every year. It's annoying that it happens every year.
Very annoying.
And it's really annoying. But man, it's the ups and downs. It's a roller coaster of an NFL season, and it really is. And they are still in a very, very good spot. They control their own destiny. Everything's ahead of them, and they have two opponents that they should be able to the quarterback and the offense should have their way with, and be able to build that confidence going into the biggest 3-game stretch of the season against the 3 divisional teams coming up in December. That I think these 2 games are that opportunity. They need to look at them as get right games and take them seriously and stomp on these teams because they're better than them.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. Okay. So I don't want to be that guy. Okay. I don't want to be like, you know, the one Bills podcaster who's going to question their legitimacy against other teams that other people think they're way better than. And before I say this, I will say the Bills have a plus 99 point differential. That is better than the Jets, Patriots, and Dolphins combined. However, I don't don't know that we can necessarily say that they are unequivocally better than the Dolphins. I think
I'm
they are.
I'm not
Personally.
saying
Yeah.
that. I'm not saying unequivocally they're better than the Dolphins. I hope that that's
Okay.
not what's coming across.
No,
I just
it
think
wasn't.
that this
I just
team's.
think that I think there's a hubris in this fan base right now where
Oh,
it's just like we
definitely.
think we are the number one top dog, but there's also it's either you have that mindset or you think that we're missing the playoffs, and I feel like there's no in between.
Yeah, there has to, there has to be an in between. There is
huge
a
deal
possibility. There is a possibility that we are 12-5 and still a respectable record and are a 5 seed and playing in the wild card because the Dolphins are also 12-5. Even if we beat the Dolphins, even if we win out in the division and win all those games, division games, the Dolphins can still have that is. I feel like that is the biggest reason people are more upset this year than they have to me in years past. It's because of the Dolphins and the Jets. It's because the teams that they're competing with are not in the other division. The division was so we were supposed to be running it like New England. That's not how the world works, man. Like, sorry that we ended up in the tough division now. Like, sorry that it's the best division in football. It's the best
for
division
years
in the
and
league.
years. People were saying, "I hope that Tua isn't good, but if he is, man, that would be fun to watch." Right? Like that's been the kind of like the consensus. Like same with like Zach Wilson, Mac Jones. I don't want these guys to get good, but if the AFC East becomes fun to watch in the premier division of the
Here
NFL,
we are.
that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Like it's kind of shaping up to be that. It's shaping up to be like what the NFC West was for years. Even with, sometimes some struggling years from Arizona or some bad years from LA in there, like no matter what, that division was always fun to watch and for the right reasons, not fun to watch in the way that the NFC East is, where it's just like, what the fuck is happening over there sometimes. But no, that division doesn't stink either.
Yeah,
So,
that division is good too. Yeah, and that's why. That's why I think fans get more worked up about it in this scenario, just because it's those three teams that are really competing at a level that we didn't expect them to. But I think that still, if this team, every game that they go into, I'm going to expect them to win, like on that individual week. And I'm fully realizing that that's not how the league works and it's not just on paper, but just personally, I look at the rest of the thing and that Miami game, it's going to be more of a toss up. I'm going to give Miami a chance to win that. But in Buffalo, in that scenario, the Bills should win that. They should win that game with the talent they have in this roster, what we've seen from them.
They're probably like 3.5 point favorites is my guess.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah,
point,
3.5. I mean, that game in Cincinnati, that's going to be a really tough game, but they still could win that game. That's going to be a huge game. Either of these New England games. I mean, every game in December on. I mean, even the Bears on Christmas Eve. You want to go play Justin Fields right now? You want to do that? No one wants to play Justin Fields right now. Literally the last person in the league people want to see. We just saw what he did to the Dolphins. Speaking of them at home, I mean, that was a game the whole time. So we're in a war that we didn't think we were going to for the whole season. We're going to end up with one of the toughest strength of schedules on the season. That's just where we're at. And we've had injuries. Like that's the biggest look at the defense last week and think of what it was projected to be at the start of the year. And fans need to, that's the biggest thing I think, is you need to have the perspective of what your expectations were before the season and then look at what the roster actually is today. Because last week, that defensive roster was not a Super Bowl caliber defense. It just wasn't. And that's no shame to any of the guys on the field. But when you have 6 backups in, that's all it is.
That's all it is. Like week
what
1,
can you do?
Doesn't matter what the LA Rams are doing right now. We fucking thwomped them. The Tennessee Titans, who just beat.
Would we have
Packers
7 sacks, 8 sacks week 1, and we haven't had this full strength defensive line since then.
Exactly. Yeah. Then the very next week against the Titans, who just beat the Packers. They're 7-3 right now. Like beating the Packers isn't the greatest thing in the world, but like they dominated that game. Like at no point did I ever think the Packers were going to come back. And even if it's just a 10-point win, just a 10-point win. Like that's hard to do, is just play a game where everybody watching will not give the other team a chance. Like you see Aaron Rodgers go back out there and you're like, oh, this is going to be cute. Like that's what I thought when he got the ball with 5 minutes left. Like, so like it's the team has not been fully healthy the entire season. Like context, we always say on this show, context is so goddamn important. And you say about their strength of schedule, they have the hardest strength of schedule in the league right now, and by far the hardest among playoff teams. The closest to them, they have a 0.6 strength of schedule. So their opponents are winning 60% of their games. The closest team is the Baltimore Ravens with 0.56.
Yeah.
And most other teams are below 0.5.
And think about what that looks like after this next 2 weeks when the 3-6 Browns and the 2, whatever the record, 1-6 and whatever the Lions record is. It's horrible. 2-6, 2-6. So both these teams, so combined 6-12, you get them out of there. That's only skyrocketing up that straight the schedule for the rest of the year. It's just they're in, no one expected that going into the year. Everybody, when they looked at the schedule before the season, looked at December and were like, "Oh,
that's going to be. We just got to get through the first 9
the
weeks.
Pats, whatever division games at home. We'll worry about, like only the game people were worried about after Thanksgiving was basically that Bengals Monday night game, and now every game is a legitimate threat. That's just sometimes that's the NFL. Sometimes that's the league. We're just every year is different. Every year is different. It's week to week league is the biggest cliche in the world, but it's so true. It's so true. Every week is its own living, breathing organism, and you really have to break it down when you're talking about a team season as a whole and look at it that way and figure it out that way.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, it doesn't get like super easy for them, but like if they got the Texans, okay, whatever. They got the 49ers, the Chargers, the Bills, the Packers, the Patriots, the Jets. Those last 6 games are all games they're going to have to fight to win.
That's tough.
Like basically, the way it boils down to it at the end of the day is the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Jets all have 3 losses, all control their destiny right now. If any of them runs the table, they are not probably the 1 seed in the AFC, but they win the division. So take what you control of what you can control.
Guys,
there's nothing else.
Here's the scenario I need to prepare Bills Mafia for.
Jesus Christ.
Take a second.
Get that microphone up there. Yeah.
The Bills, week 18, are going to need to win against the Patriots to win the division. The Patriots are going to need to win to be a wild card team. And if the Bills lose, whoever wins the Jets or Dolphins is going to win the division. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, I hate
if the Bills lose, this is also going to be the same way. If the Bills lose, the Chiefs and Ravens, one of them will pass them for the 1 seed. I guarantee you that this season is coming down to the division and the 1 seed on week 18. And you want to know why I'm doing this? Putting this in your head? Because I went through my playoff predictor yesterday. ESPN,
of course you did.
ESPN playoff machine is up and running starting
back?
week 11. So we're back.
Oh, it's so back.
That is the scenario I ended up with almost every time, was some semblance of that. Unless you really want to like hurt the Dolphins and have them lose like 4 of those games. That's a very realistic, like that's having the Bills at 13-4 if they win that game. The Chiefs would be 13-4, the Ravens would be 13-4, and then the Dolphins are either 13-4 or 12-5. So it might be a 4-way tie too for the 1 seed, but like record wise, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess because the Chiefs schedule, go look at the Chiefs schedule.
Oh, I just did.
Easy.
It is disgustingly easy.
Cake. We honestly need the Chargers to win this week. Like need the Chargers to win.
We need the Chargers to win. We need the Bengals. We need the Seahawks. And those are the only 3 games they can lose through those games.
Because they play the Broncos twice, right? And the Raiders.
They play the Broncos twice, the Raiders, the Texans, and the Rams.
That Rams game, probably not even no cup. I don't have any hope in the Rams to do anything.
No, absolutely not. That's why I said them after the Texans.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a battle down to the end. And we just got to get that's the beauty of an NFL season. This is what the league wants. They wanted all their parity. They want everybody bundled up. So those week 18 games are a crazy weekend. I just feel like we're heading to that scenario. So just be ready. 4:30, you're going to be watching the Bills game and paying attention to Jets, Dolphins, Chiefs, whoever, and Ravens. Ravens Bengals is week 18, and that could be Sunday night football for all we know.
Wow.
It's going to be a great week 18 because it's also Giants Eagles. Giants Eagles is going to be that day, which will be a great game. Yeah, it's going to be a huge huge week 18 this year because we've had some dud week 18s.
Yeah, no, that's and that's actually kind of interesting.
Oh,
I understand them wanting to. Yeah,
Atlanta, Tampa could be for the division week 18.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure
Jacksonville could upset Tennessee and force them to not be in contention for the 1 seed.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Tampa, Atlanta could be for that. Lions, Packers. Oh my God, Aaron. Jordan Love will play that game.
Sal Spice told us that the Vikings always lose in Chicago. They're in Chicago week 18.
Cowboys, Commanders. Wow.
Tricky.
Cardinals, Niners. Oh my goodness, what a week 18.
Yeah, it's gonna be. They're all gonna, and the way the teams are lined up, they're all gonna matter. Every game's gonna matter.
And that's so weird though, because I understand having week 18 be, something that's not a game where people are just playing backups. However, I think that teams kind of like the idea of having a bye week going into the playoffs. Almost.
Yeah,
it's a weird thing for the NFL to try to set up, in which they are clearly trying to set up here.
Yeah,
man,
it's gonna be fun. All right, you want to get some? Really fun. You want to get some predictions here, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, we'll do some predictions. I think that. Yeah, I think that the Bills are going to put a 40 spot on this Browns defense. I'm not even going to lie about it. I think they are going to win this game 41-27.
20. Yeah. So you think the Browns are going to score too?
I think that the Browns are going to score. I think that actually maybe not 27, 21. 41-21, because Nick Chubb is getting into the end zone at least once. I don't trust Jacoby Brissett to really keep them in the game for very long. Some of those touchdowns, one of them is going to come meaningless in the fourth quarter. But it's going to be this game, now that it's in a dome, and yes, you draft Josh Allen to play in the cold and the elements and all that shit, but now that it's in a dome, this game turns from possibly being close and frisky to this should be a blowout, and it's about time the Bills get back into that.
45-24. That's what I'm thinking too. I'm around the same rate as you.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's a high score.
The over.
I think it's a high scoring affair. I think we're going to see a lot of points in Ford Field. These defenses, the Browns are going to be able to run the ball. They're going to have chunk running plays again. I don't think those problems get solved. Also, just because Greg Rousseau and Tremaine Edmonds are huge to the run game, and it's missing them a lot. But Brissett's not going to be able to do anything explosive with those receivers on Sunday. And I think the Bills, like I said earlier, get right game for the offense. Passing offense looks awesome. I don't know about the run game. I don't think it's going to matter, because I think the Bills are just going to throw for 350, 400 yards and have a day that way.
This could be a game where Josh Allen's out by the third quarter.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to see what the atmosphere is like for our Lake Erie bowl game.
Yeah.
It really is. It's going to be an interesting afternoon in Detroit. That is for sure.
It is damn sure. And I know you'll be giving us a bunch of content on your trip down there or trip up there, and when you are in Detroit. So everybody look forward to that, and look forward to our pregame show. Micah may or may not be there on Sunday because he'll be too busy living it up in Detroit, obviously. But we will be. I'll
try to connect. If I can connect my phone to the StreamYard, I'll get in there.
If we can get a look at what the Bills tailgate's like, because we know there's going to be a good tailgate out there. So
see, I was literally thinking after this, I need to go to Bills Reddit to see if anybody updated there. So Bills Reddit, or wherever Bills Mafia, Twitter, whatever we need to do, just let me know what lots we're in, and I'm sure all the lots is just going to be a crazy ass tailgate with everybody just doing whatever. That's what I imagine is going to happen.
Oh, can't wait to see it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Been a great episode here. We'll see you for pregame on Sunday. But until then, for myself, Jake Micah, Outlet Liquor, fans of Buffalo Picasso's Pizza, and all of Trainwreck Sports, good night.